So let me write down those 3 questions again. Have you ever felt used? And they say yes, and they were upset. Okay, have you ever felt ignored? Thank you. And they're mad. Have you ever been treated harshly? Question mark, right? Upset, really upset.
Mm-hmm.
So this is when I'm, for example, when I'm being seen, when I'm being regarded as an object.
Yeah.
Whoops, that's supposed to be an S. As an object.
Okay.
And we identify those 3 general ways. Vehicle, irrelevancy, sorry about the abbreviations, obstacle. Okay. And so here I can recognize when it's being done to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we ask the question, how about when I'm seeing someone else in this way?
Right.
How about when I see someone else as an object, right?
Yeah.
Well, if I'm seeing someone as a vehicle, I'm sitting watching a game, Premier League soccer game or something, and I want another drink and I've run out,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want to have to get up and miss out on the game or anything. So I noticed my 6-year-old is over here playing. So I say, hey, run, get me a drink.
Yeah.
And they go do it.
Yeah.
Am I upset?
No.
Would it be okay to say, would this make sense to you? Say, I actually feel pleased. I'm content.
Didn't have to get up.
It works, right?
Didn't even miss a single play of the game.
Yeah. So notice when it's being done to me, I'm upset. But when I use somebody else and they do what I want, I'm not upset.
You're even like, hey, that worked well.
That works hard. So if I'm seeing someone ignoring someone, when I'm in a meeting, conducting a meeting, I'm getting input, I notice Sally has her hand up, and I only later in the meeting or after the meeting, I remember, I never got to her. Well, when I'm ignoring her in the meeting, what emotion do I have?
I mean, if you ignore her, you have to have a conversation where you make her worthy of being ignored in your mind.
Well, yeah. No, well, look, it's some.
Yeah. What do you
This
think?
one's tricky.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
So sometimes I ignore people because they're a pest.
Yeah.
But that's an obstacle, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what about when I just forgot to get back to her? It's just that.
You go, I didn't mean to. It's okay.
I might say that to myself, right?
Okay.
But how do you think Sally feels?
Unseen.
Unseen.
And
And upset. Mad, right?
Yeah.
Maybe mad.
Yeah.
But little demeaned, denigrated. My heavens, what, my comments don't matter?
Yeah.
You only talk to the men in the group, Chris? Come on, what's your deal?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's interesting that if they're a pest, then I'm gonna drop down to obstacle. But if I'm really just ignoring somebody, they're so inconsequential. It's almost like I can't even stir up an emotion for you.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a no.
Yeah. Which is, in some ways, I mean, if you talk about ways to be objectified, to be told that you don't matter enough for me to notice.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. Now, if I see somebody as an obstacle, a pest, then my ignoring is, I'm upset. I'm annoyed at them. I'm so sick and tired of your tawdry ideas in my meetings. I'm not,
Stop wasting everyone's time, please.
Yeah. So here I'm upset.
Yeah, and you're right. That is more of an obstacle, right? Yeah.
Now, I've added a 4th one over the years.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever thought about this one.
Yeah, I'm excited. I actually don't think I have. Oh, the project.
Ever been seen as a project?
Oh my gosh. There was a kid that I went to church with, and he was the nicest kid in the world, Elders Quorum president. And he would be really nice to me. But I felt like he doesn't actually like me.
Oh.
He just thinks you should be nice to everyone. can I share a better story?
Yeah.
This is actually this. You get those things you do when you're little and you feel bad about it for years, like really bad.
Yeah.
There's a kid in my elementary school, Tommy Zane, and he didn't fit in. His clothes were old and dirty, and his hair was always kind of messed up.
A little
And
oily.
yeah,
Not
it wasn't the cleanest, right?
hasn't had a haircut for 7.5 months.
Yeah, and he was nerdy, and when you talked to him, he just didn't seem to be able to navigate socially very well, and everyone picked on him,
Mm-hmm.
and that made me sad. I didn't like that. I I I don't know. What's funny is I saw him as a person, and so I would, after school, I'd find him, and we kind of had the same path home, and I would walk part of the way home from school with him.
Chatting with him while you go?
Yeah, and what I found is one-on-one, he actually could converse pretty well, and he was like nice to talk to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, this happened a few days, maybe a week, and one day Tommy goes, "Hey man, do you want to come over and hang out? Do you want like we talk after school and every single day? Do you want to come hang out?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't want to hang out with Tommy Zane." Right?
Something just.
Yeah. Like I didn't mind being nice to him while I was walking home, but I didn't want to hang out with him. I didn't want to be friends with
Did you
him.
tell him about the 500 milk cows you had to go take care of right now?
I came up with some excuse
Yeah.
that was lame and that he knew was
A lame excuse.
a lame excuse. And I watched kids be real mean to that kid, real mean, push him.
Yeah.
I swear I heard him worse.
Oh, that's interesting.
Years after that, high school, haven't talked to him since 6th grade, 5th grade, whatever, right? I'd see him in the halls at high school and he'd give me a look. He hated me. At least that's how I felt.
Oh.
And anyway, but it's a good story that illustrates that, like a project.
Well, I think in the beginning, you're just fine with going with him. It's okay to walk home with him. But
Yeah,
when he does the ask, well, that's too much.
yeah,
I don't see you as that much of a person.
right. I thought I saw him as a person, but when it really came down to it, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Well, I've had plenty of those in my life.
yeah,
I think the way I think about a project, and then people probably define this in a number of ways. For me, a project is we've identified someone who's got issues and we're going to try and help them. And it's kind of a hybrid, if you will. They're useful, they're a problem, right? So they're kind of an obstacle, but they could be useful because if we can get them to turn around, we're going to get pats on the back. We're going to get kudos.
yeah,
We can feel good about ourselves, how we took this deficient individual
mm-hmm.
and turned them into something,
Yeah,
which really sounds objectifying.
yeah,
So it's interesting that your story, it's interesting. I tell the story in the airport sort of offhandedly anymore. And I don't even really feel angry about it anymore. Probably resolved it. But when I hear that story about Tommy Zane, I'm
mm-hmm.
going, and you're talking about that. I felt that story.
I still feel bad about it.
Yeah, I can feel you doing that.
Yeah, it makes me emotional. I feel bad that I hurt him that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never done anything like that.
I know. That's why I'm friends with you.
So I went on one date my senior year in high school.
Okay.
Well, I was coerced into asking a girl out to the prom.
Okay.
Sandy. And in the 7th grade or 8th grade, we tried to be boyfriend, girlfriend because it was something to do. I had no clue what that was about. Too young. Now I'm a senior in high school. I'm still really immature. And okay, you want to go to the prom with me? I ask her out. She's really happy. Yeah, she'd love that. And that'd be really cool. So that's a couple of weeks away. I never picked her up. I never even went and picked her up that night.
You asked her and then just
Ghosted.
Okay.
I told that to my daughters, and I have not a few. They struggled with liking me. Yeah, 8 daughters. They struggled with liking me. They had a hard time reconciling that I would have done that, because they can't stand boys who are doing that to them.
Yeah.
And they struggled for days with that rather awful picture of me. But I don't think there's anything more common in our experience, that we see people as people a lot of the time, and there's other times when we see people and they're less relevant, less meaningful. They're objects, they're irritants, they're bores, they're an abstraction, they're a diagnosis.
Yeah.
I left the last place I worked at because the therapist there would talk about their clients as a diagnosis. Got to go meet my borderline.
Yeah.
Really, I thought you were meeting a person
Yeah.
who has struggles. So there's one more piece to this.
Okay.
That Arbinger's never talked about, but I do. Okay. That first column is when I'm seen as an object. I can readily identify that.
Yeah. Emotions.
This one's a little more, we got to work a little harder to get that out on the table.
Aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think we can see ourselves in objectifying ways?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I talk about this with my patients sometimes. We got our relationship with others, but then we have a relationship with ourselves. Yeah.